Good evening, this is Warspite the wargamer, coming back to you after a delay of only about 1 year. Been busy writing a book, keeping up with my health as best I can, and trying to stay out of trouble. So I recently got back into modelling, and I thought, as I've now got a brand new video camera, I'll produce a somewhat more professional movie. Main theme tonight, as so often with my other films, both of them, main theme tonight is cheap and cheerful, budget stuff available from high street shops. I will mention that I received no cash, commission or freebies, but I do have customer cards for the works and hobbycraft, and that's the only perk I receive. So, having got that out of the way, we'll now move on to way better zoom and move on to the first item. Getting back into modelling recently and painting 28mm figures, I suddenly realised I needed bigger brushes. Popped into my local branch of the works and discovered they've got a sale on. All of these plus two others I've taken out. Similar pack here. Retail price £3, currently £1.50. That's less than about 20 or 30 pence per brush. Nice selection, nylon type, they come to nice neat points, and for £1.50 for a set like that you can't go wrong. I also wanted some slightly thinner rounds. These should have been £2.50 but reduced to £1.25. I'm not turning those down. So that's the works. What else has the works got? Some time ago I may have mentioned the wooden discs. The works normally have these for about £2 for 100. Different size wooden discs. They can be used for basing 28s, 15s, small tanks, you name it, whatever. Popped into a little craft shop stroke general goods shop nearby in a village and discovered smaller sizes. Now these are £2 for 100. These are £1.50 for about, I'll say about 40 or 50 in there. Made under the name Craft Embellishments. Now I'm going to hold up a barcode to the screen here. That should focus. That should give you sufficient information to be able to find them online. Craft Embellishments, £1.50 for all these lovely little plywood discs. If you've got any basing requirements, incidentally, one of these small ones here is actually smaller than the smallest one from the works. The works ones aren't available in the high street shops at the moment. I think they've sold out. Can't think why, they're popular. But if you want to try and look out for them online, I'm sure the works will supply them to you. So, moving on to hobbycraft. One of the problems I've had before is with drills. Now I have got some sets of these little cheap fine steel engineer drills, tiny little things like hairs, some of them. These cost me about £3 or £4 for a set in our local marketplace. Trouble is, my 12-volt power drill tends to rip things up, especially on white metal. Somebody then recommended, and this comes from Hobbycraft, these two items. One of them is the Archimedean type drill holder, and the other one is a pin vise with a double. Each of these incidentally has got a double end collet, so you can hold two different sizes. Now this is the pin vise. You cuddle it in that end, start twisting it here, and you can actually get a nice drilling action on white metal, plastic, whatever. And this week I actually drilled out the gun muzzles in some Perry miniatures 12-pounder Napoleons. Quite pleased with the effect. Uncle Atom of Tabletop Minions recommends drilling out gun barrels, and I totally agree with him. This is the Archimedean type. This one works by, you screw it down here. It's a bit like one of those screwdrivers type. You can sort of self-screwing, push it down here, and it spins that and gives you some effect. You can use them with drills, use them with pins, use them with what you like. Also, while I was there, spotted another little problem solved. Picking up quantities of paint, quantities of liquids, quantities of let's say thinner, etc. These came from the works, and it's like a medical syringe but without any needles. You can't go injecting yourself with them, but great for picking up paint, great for picking up liquids, resins, etc., and putting in the amount you want. Should point out the drills are £9.50 each, but I think for the quality, well up to it. So moving from the Hobbycraft onto the yeah, believe it or not, Wilkinson's, popped into the DIY section and found these. Now these are marketed, as you can see, as touch-up and tester pot brushes, little dinky things. Now if you're doing groundwork, especially in a small area, these are lovely. And believe it or not, I think they charged me £1.50 or £2 for them. Stupid price for a lovely little sawn-off detail brush. You can even use it for painting around a doorway, etc. at home if you're doing your DIY. But as a groundwork brush, nylon, easy to wash out, nice handy handle, less than about £1.50 each. You can't do better than that. So moving on from that to perennial problem. I don't have one of those lovely static guns for scattering the fine nylon flocks. I do, however, have a tea strainer. The static guns you use to lay the fine nylon flocks cost £60, £70, £80 each or more. If you get hold of the flock and just throw it down, as it'll often arrive as a lump and stick as a lump. If you put about a tablespoonful of flock in that, you've got your white wood glue here, shake it over, you get a lovely neat controllable cascade of flock onto your target. It won't stick up, you don't get the static effect, but if you're working on smaller scales, that's a great way to get the nylon type flocks down without them clumping up. Next, recently got into doing Perry 28mm figures. Somebody said to me, "Oh, you got to get some plastic clippers." I looked at the price that various companies were charging me for plastic clippers and said, "Be that for gamer soldiers." These were left to me by my late mother and father. They are nail clippers. They come in different types. That's quite a fine one, as you can see. This is quite a coarse one, and the effect of these is you can nip in, break the sprue off quite easily, clip it away. Now these didn't cost me anything. You could pinch your mum and dad's, you could pinch your uncle Ada's, but in this case, if you can't get hold of them cheaply, either stick your head in Superdrugs and see if they're selling them, or go down to a boot sale, or go to a charity shop and have a rummage through their bits and pieces. I'm sure I've seen these at boot sales before, and they do turn up. 50p or £1 in the boot sale, as opposed to £9.50, £10. I've seen even £15 being asked for a set of professional clippers. Finally, Sharpies. Yep, Sharpies. I've seen people using Sharpies to actually colour figures, a whole set of coloured ones, colour a whole figurine, etc, etc, etc. It's been done, it can be done. I think that's possibly going a bit far, but for improving metallics, you can't beat these. I've used silver ones before, that's that one there, on my 15mm medievals, just to touch up the top of a helmet, touch up the tip of a weapon, and just make it gleam a bit more. So these actually are quite bright. Now this week I've been painting a 28mm 12-pounder Napoleon, the same one I used to drill out the barrel with those, and I painted it coppery goldy colour. Didn't quite like the effect, so got the copper one out of this, where the gun barrel is, stroke the Sharpie along the top edge just a little bit, perhaps a bit round the side, just give a bit more of a sunlight gleam to the top of the gun barrel. Pleased with the result, and pleased with how it's come out. And so far I've never had them fade. I've been using them for 3, 4, 5 years, particularly the silver one on armour. So, having run through my latest set of possessions, I will now add Warspite the Wargamer. Goodbye and good night. Take care.